The split. You need to hear this clearly. Two people had the last real conversation with Nolan Wells. Their families are now telling two different stories. Nolan's friends say he chose to stay behind on that beach. Katie's family says he was already heading back to the boat. Both stories can't be true. And this week, the FBI stepped into the middle of it. That single detail changes everything about this case. A local sheriff's department doesn't call in federal help for nothing. You're about to find out exactly why they did. Here's what we're promising you in this video. First, you'll learn what actually changed in the investigation this week. Not rumors, confirmed facts only. Second, you'll hear Katie's side of the story for the first time, in her family's own words. By the end, you'll understand exactly where this case stands right now. And you'll understand why nobody, not even investigators, has settled the biggest question yet. Who really saw Nolan last? And why do their stories refuse to line up? If you've been following this case, subscribe now, because what you're about to hear reframes everything you thought you knew. Stick with us. This gets more complicated before it gets clearer. Before we get to who's telling the truth, here's exactly what changed this week, and why investigators suddenly widened the net. What actually changed? Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter gave an update this week, and it contained details the public never had before. He confirmed his department is conducting formal witness interviews. He confirmed direct contact with outside agencies, including the FBI. Tips from the public, he said, genuinely moved this investigation forward. This investigation is active. It's ongoing. That's a very different tone from his earlier comments. You remember the phrase that drew so much criticism? No foul play was suspected. This update avoids that language completely. Here's Promise 1, delivered. FBI contact does not mean a federal takeover. It means something more specific. Federal agencies bring forensic resources smaller departments simply don't have. Digital evidence recovery. Cross-jurisdictional coordination. This case has outgrown one small sheriff's office. Meanwhile, the evidence everyone's waiting for still hasn't arrived. The independent autopsy, commissioned by Nolan's family, was expected last Friday in Washington, D.C. Attorney Ben Crump says the delay came from transporting Nolan's body. The state's own autopsy sits in a similar holding pattern. Toxicology alone can take weeks. And now, for the first time, a name enters this case that changes the entire conversation. The young woman Nolan was last seen speaking to has a name: Katie McCormack. Her mother confirmed it publicly. Katie was the person with Nolan that day. This isn't a mystery figure anymore. This is a real person, with a real family, about to speak on her behalf. But Katie hasn't spoken for herself. What her family says on her behalf is about to complicate everything. The conversation that won't match. Here's Promise 2, delivered. You're about to hear Katie's account, exactly as her family described it. According to Katie's sister, Nolan's friends were pressuring him to end the conversation. Katie had one last talk with him. She assumed, based on that conversation, he was getting ready to board the boat. She never watched him get on it. She simply assumed it, the way anyone would after a conversation ends and someone turns to walk away. Katie made it home safely that night, on a different boat with different people. Her mother, Gracie McCormack, confirmed the same story separately, but she added something critical. Katie has no insight into what happened after the two of them parted ways. Let's break down exactly where this leaves us. 5 things you need to hold on to right now. 1. Katie's account came from Facebook posts, not a sworn statement. 2. Nolan's friends say he chose to stay behind voluntarily. 3. Katie's family says he was already walking toward the boat. 4. Neither account has been tested under oath yet. 5. Both versions could be sincere if something happened in the minutes between them. That last point matters more than you think. Nolan could have genuinely intended to leave. Something could have changed in the gap between that final conversation and whenever his friends last saw him. 2 honest people. 2 honest memories, and still no version of events that fully lines up. So here's the real question this case hinges on. Do these 2 accounts actually contradict each other? Or are they just describing two completely different moments, minutes apart? Tell us below. Which version do you believe, and why? So if neither side is necessarily lying, what does everyone closest to Nolan actually think happened? Who's actually talking? Trace Aston Shepherd already came forward once. He's the friend in that viral confrontation video. This week, he spoke again. I know I've lost my best friend. He says he wants the facts before he forms any opinion. He isn't defending his friend group. He isn't accusing anyone either. That kind of restraint stands out in a case full of confident theories. Compare that to the rest of the friend group. All of them retained legal counsel early on. According to Ben Crump, none of them have spoken directly with the family's legal team since. Then there's Judge Ashley Cole. She released a public statement describing her son Warren's account of that day in detail. Here's what her statement never mentions: the phone, the keys, the video, the deleted Snapchat messages. If these details are new to you, subscribe now, because the next update breaks down exactly what each one means. And in the middle of all this legal maneuvering, Nolan's mother, Christine, shared something quieter. The last time she saw her son was July 3rd. She made him salmon for dinner. He said, "Hey Mom, I'm about to go, I love you." A hug, a kiss. He left. That ordinary goodbye turned out to be the last one. What do you make of what the judge's statement leaves out? Tell us in the comments. None of this tells us what actually happened on that boat. Here's exactly where this stands, and what's still missing. What's still missing? Let's recap exactly where this case stands right now. Nolan's phone came back with 0 saved Snapchat content, checked before the 24-hour deletion window closed. A photo shows him in blue shorts. The official report says black. Over 13 hours passed between the family's first report and a formal Coast Guard search. None of this week's developments answered any of these questions. They only added new ones. That's the responsible truth here, not the exciting one. The FBI's involvement, Katie's family speaking up, none of it resolves this case yet. It only shifts where the weight sits. Christine is still holding on to the memory of an ordinary goodbye, one that never got the chance to be followed by another one. We're not going to speculate past what's confirmed. We're not going to chase theories that feel satisfying but aren't verified. That's not what this channel does. Subscribe now if you want the facts the moment they're confirmed, not the moment they go viral. What's the one answer you need most before this case makes sense to you? Tell us below, and we'll follow up in the next update. We'll be here when the facts arrive.